all YouTubers? I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this hurricane discussion for May 4th, 2020. May the 4th be with you. We're going to be talking about our 5th 2020 Atlantic hurricane season forecast. Okay, we're also going to be discussing the tropics here and kind of looking at some factors that might have changed into, kind of determining our hurricane season here. So stay tuned. Please watch the whole video. As always, please consider subscribing as well. Alright, and ring those bell notifications, share this video with your friends. And if you look at the top right corner, you'll see my May 2020 forecast. And if you click on the eye, you might also see the summer 2020 forecast. Consider watching those after this video as well. Alright, so let's get into the video. This is my 5th hurricane outlook. Okay, I've added 2 slots to the table. I've also changed my forecast, so we're going to go through it here. Alright, so my forecast. If you look before my 4th video, by the way, I saw it was a great hit, so thank you for that. So, 16 to 19 named storms now, as opposed to 15 to 17 from before. The number, I did raise it up a little bit. I did keep the hurricanes number the same, though, at 8 to 10. Major hurricanes went up just slightly from 3 to 5 to 3 to 6. U.S. impacts also stayed the same at 3 to 6. Alright, AccuWeather, 14 to 18 named storms, 7 to 9 hurricanes, 2 to 4 major hurricanes, and 2 to 4 U.S. impacts, so no change there. Colorado State University, also no change. 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes, and they don't really do a U.S. impacts forecast. The Weather Company, 18 named storms, 9 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes, and 1 plus U.S. impact because they always talk about, like I said before, they always talk about 1 storm hitting the U.S., but they don't really provide a forecast for that necessarily either. Seasonal average, 12 named storms, 6 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes on a seasonal average. I believe that's a 1981 to 2010 based average. Our U.S. impacts, I have found in the past 10 years or so that there's usually either 1 to 3 or 2 to 4 named storms or hurricanes that strike the U.S. Each year. But that number isn't always a guarantee. All right, but that's kind of like your average. Penn State didn't have any numbers for the hurricanes, the major hurricanes, or U.S. impacts, which I'm not expecting the U.S. impacts, but no hurricanes or major hurricanes forecast from Penn State, but they did give us a named storm outlook of 15 to 24 named storms. North Carolina State University, 18 to 22 named storms, all right, 8 to 11 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes, and they don't really do a U.S. impacts forecast either. It's pretty much only AccuWeather and the Weather Company that do the U.S. impacts kind of forecast, as well as me. All right. And last year, 2019 Atlantic hurricane season, we had 18 named storms, 6 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes, and judging by the track map, estimated 5 storms struck the U.S., including the very powerful Hurricane Dorian. All right. Well, it did affect the U.S. All right. North Carolina was one of the hardest hit areas, sadly, in the process of cleaning up, as well as the Bahamas. Very hard by Dorian. May 2020, okay, these models have changed. If you look from my 4th outlook to this one, you'll see that these models have kind of changed a little bit. All right, many of them are still above the 0 line, but that will change as we head into June. We have a couple models over to the left, a couple models over to the right, but the average of all the models, as you can see, the dark gray bar down below, that the mean of the models is below 0 by June. So that's the average of all 8 models. As you can see, their names on the left side here. All right, July, only 2 models are above the 0 line at this point, but we're all in a neutral except for NASA's going way into a La Niña phase. The BOM is pretty much on its way there, as well as the NOAA model. But the European and the media were kind of stubborn. Heading towards August, everybody's on a 0 line pretty much at this point. I'd say the European is as well. But the BOM, the NASA are at La Niña stage at this point. So a couple models are stating that we could have some La Niña conditions. But either way, no El Nino in the forecast. And here's September here. All models are to the left of the 0 line. And what we call that is negative neutral, which is this region right here. Like I said before, this is positive neutral, but either way, it's all neutral. It's pretty much all neutral. All right, again, El Nino, La Nina, judging by or as you can see by the red and the blue. All right, we also have a new monthly sea surface temperature anomalies new run here from the BOM. and the Bureau of Meteorology. So actually, I think going back, I believe that the BOM, that is probably the Bureau of Meteorology. That's like their own kind of model on the top there. So that's probably the Bureau of Meteorology's prediction at the top. I kind of just realized what the letters actually meant. So that top model could have been the Bureau of Meteorology forecast. So on the left here is the model run from April 11th. On the right is April 25th. All right. Now, you can see kind of have a steep drop, but I think we have an even steeper drop now, and now they're kind of talking about La Nina. The average of all those spaghetti models is indicating a La Nina from August all the way through October. Before, they had it at La Nina maybe by September, but now August to October, they're basically at the La Nina level. So a little bit of a steeper drop here, as the spaghetti models have been leading more towards that at this point. All right. On the top is the most recent one. The bottom one is from about last week, about 10 days ago. And you can see that the La Nina chances did drop by about 5%, especially towards August through October. All right, so before, well, actually, the La Nina chances did jump up by 10% for August, but they did drop 5% for both September and October. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The top one has October, the one before doesn't, so so yeah, July, okay, I kind of read that wrong. So July, it went from 27 to 20%. All right, perspective can be confusing here. August went from 45 to 37, and September went from 48 to 38. So about a 10%, 5 to 10% drop in the La Nina chances, but still, there's no chance of El Nino, okay? It's all zeros at this point. So that's really what matters most, okay? So we still have an enhanced chance of a neutral phase. All right. This kind of similar as well. Okay, there's a lot of new maps, so stick around for the whole video if you want to see a lot of new maps that I did put on here that are really good in determining the hurricane season. All right, May. That did drop from 0.3 to 0.2 above, so that's a little change there. But July and September did stay the same from the Bureau of Meteorology here. You can see right there. July 0.4 below and average, and September is 0.6 below. So definitely not La Nina zone potentially by that time. Ocean temperature anomalies. We really saw a building of deep red color there for just on the northern coast of Cuba. Definitely a region that saw an increase in the ocean temperature anomalies. There has been a little blue spot developing in the Gulf of Mexico that wasn't there before, but overall, Western Gulf as well as the Bahamas and parts of Florida have been seeing, all right, some well above average ocean temperatures. They went from 1 to up to 3 degrees above average, but since we've been having some cold shots across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, kind of proves it here. We're going to have some front sweeping through. At first, on the East Coast, the water was actually above average because we didn't have any fronts sweeping through it and no jet stream really to kind of, wipe out the warm air and kind of replace it with some cooler waters. Now that has happened, as late April or April into May has been really below average, so to speak here. But still, we have warmed up slowly on the southeast coast. Okay, we do a little stripe of 80-degree water now, moving up towards the same latitude now as Georgia and South Carolina. So same latitude there. So it's moving a little bit farther to the north. We have a little stripe of yellow. But overall, the only region that's really changed is on the immediate southern coast of Cuba and the northern coast of Cuba. All right, so right surrounding Cuba here, we've really warmed up from about, a couple patchy areas of 29. Now it's all widespread 29, and even some areas of 30 or 29.5 degrees Celsius within that, translating to the mid to upper 80s in terms of the ocean temperature. But that 80-degree line there, Gulf of Mexico, it's definitely getting there. It's getting a little bit farther north, slowly but surely here. Ocean temperature anomalies. I did mention in my fourth video about a little area of blue there. Yeah, that has really since expanded across the MDR. So we're dropping farther below average in that MDR region in the East Tropical Atlantic Ocean. All right, but we still have some above average, closer to the subtropics. We still have some above average water. If I didn't mention, on the left is April 25th, and on the right is May 3rd. All right. So not much change except for the fact that the MDR region is starting to get some blues there, so that could be a little bit of a negative factor. But like I said, it's going to be at least 2.5 months, close to 3 months before I start seeing activity out here by Africa. So focus kind of more on this for now instead of out here because conditions are still going to be unfavorable anyway. But again, here's that 80-degree line kind of getting halted because those colder waters are trying to make its way north. So not much change in the ocean temperatures here, except that they've been cooling down by about a degree and a half Celsius because of that area of cooler water that you see in the MDR region, or the eastern part of the MDR region right there. All right, so Caribbean, we went from, again, left is April 25th, right is May 3rd. We went from 0.6 above to 0.4 above, so the Caribbean has trended down in the ocean temperature anomalies a little bit. Like I said, because of that area of blue, the MDR has just taken a nosedive downward. We went from 0.3 above to 0.1 above, so it doesn't sound like much. And we're talking about degrees Celsius above average, by the way. As it doesn't sound like much, but still, the fact that it's taking a nosedive like this is a potential sign. Like I said, really just have to worry about this region towards July. All right, North Atlantic. North Atlantic is a part of the, oops, sorry about that, that's the East Tropical Atlantic. North Atlantic is a part of the, or a region in the ocean that fluctuates in temperatures a lot. You can see there's a lot of up and downs here, as opposed to here, you know, it's more, you know, kind of more of a flow. But I mean, we still have some up and downs in the MDR, but the North Atlantic really goes up and down here. And the most recent trend is we went from 0.1 below, well, to 0.17 below. So a little bit lower for the North Atlantic as well. But like I said, it's on its way up again. It's on an uptrend. Another region that really plummeted, again, because of that same blue region, is the East Tropical Atlantic. We went straight down. I mean, literally, April 19th, the East Tropical Atlantic was about 0.41 degrees above average. Well, now we're down to 0.28 degrees below average. So definitely a big drop there. Like I said, on the 25th, we were 0.1 above. Now we are 0.2 below. And finally, the Niña 3-4 here. Okay. We went from 0.5 above to 0.2 above. So that's also dropped. So the Niña 3-4, now that is good. I mean, that's going to create more hurricanes. This is the one you want to see go lower if you want to see more hurricanes and tropical systems. All right, because we're now pretty much dropping into a neutral phase at this point. Tropical intensity index. Okay, anywhere in that orange region in the Caribbean now that's starting to develop and I've been keeping an eye on, that is your region where favorable for tropical systems or even hurricanes to develop. All right, so tropical entities can form in the Caribbean right now. In the orange area, it's favorable. In that red area, it's highly favorable. And we don't see too much of that. But like I said, even if a tropical entity tried to form, as soon as it gets north here, it gets in the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to die. Not because of the ocean water, but because of the wind shear and the dry air. So even if something tried to form in the Caribbean, it wouldn't get too far for now. Okay, that could always change. All right, some newer maps here. All right. So some newer maps. What is this? All right. Now this basically saying how deep underwater can we go? All right, because sometimes towards the ocean floor, down lower, it's kind of a little bit cooler. So basically, this is saying in meters, which I'll translate to feet for you guys if you don't know. 1 meter is 3 feet. So how deep in the ocean can you go to still find sea surface temperatures of 80 degrees plus? All right, so let me state an example in case you guys are still confused. So just south of Cuba here, south of the Dominican Republic, in this orange and red region, we're talking about 150 to 175 meters below the ocean surface. All right, so that is basically saying that we could go 400 feet, at least 400 feet under the ocean surface, and we could still find ocean temperatures of 80 degrees plus. So not only is the ocean surface temperature 80 degrees plus, but it's also below the ocean surface, and that can, if more of the water is 80 degrees plus, that can really drive those tropical systems. So something we'll be keeping an eye on as well. Okay, so the dry air, why? Because you saw in the tropical intensity index, which isn't too common, why is this region all favorable? Okay, we got the warm water, and take a look at the dry air. There was a significant absence of dry air in the Caribbean. There's no dry air at all, actually. But once you get to the Gulf of Mexico, Western Atlantic, and the tropics, East Tropical Atlantic, the dry area goes up. But Caribbean, if someone wants to try to form it in area Canada, I don't see too much convection currently, though. However, we do have some tropical heat. All right, so on the left is April 24th. On the right is May 2nd. All right, again, not much change. We still have that area of dark orange and red just south of Cuba there. So a little bit high on the 100 to up to 110 on the TCHP scale, the tropical cyclone heat potential scale by the NOAA and AOMI. All right, so basically the higher that number is, more tropical cyclone heat there is. But anywhere in that black outlined region, right here, that's where you can, that's your favorable, that's where your teal is. You're at least 60 kJcm to the -2. All right, that's kind of like your region where you can have those tropical systems because of the above average tropical cyclone heat. All right, wind shear. Why is that area favorable again? Okay, again, right here, why is it favorable? Well, we do have some lower wind shear. Okay, Northern Caribbean, we do have some wind shear, but the southern and eastern part of the Caribbean, there's no wind shear really. And if there is any, it's been dropping over the past 24 hours. So we do have a region here in that green that has a little bit lack of wind shear. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. All right, but we've been dropping 5, 10, even 20 knots of wind shear in the past 24 hours in this region. So definitely something, again, to keep an eye on for sure. Because again, it's May. Hurricane season starts in 28 days now. So we got to get our plan in place, especially amid this pandemic. All right, Caribbean, this is kind of like your wind shear. All right, so the black is kind of like sort of your average, so to speak. All right, and you can see we're pretty much, for the Caribbean, we're just on that average, maybe just a tad above. What's going to happen is, on average, we're going to start to drop the wind shear, and it'll peak, or not peak, it'll get at its lowest, it'll reach that trough right there at September. So that's why September is an active region in the Caribbean as well. You can see we are trending downward, because look at January. We had excessive wind shear that has started to trail down, even though we're going to keep going up and down every single day. This varies a ton. The tropical Atlantic, okay? Again, January through March, we were at much higher wind shear levels. We're talking about past 40 knots at 200 to 850 millibar level. All right, so we're talking about like jet stream winds all the way down to 5,000 feet winds. You can see, again, we're just above the average, but like I said, we're going to reach our lowest right there in mid-July. Actually, climatologically, it goes up a little bit, and then it gets even lower again right mid-September. So 2 times in the tropical Atlantic, mid-July and mid-September, to kind of have most of their 2 lowest points of wind shear. And then it skyrockets back up once we head into December. All right, so 1 day out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry, that was 5. All right, so again, 1 day, 2, 3, 5. All right, I mean, the wind shear is going to be well over 50 knots plus. All right, but like I said, we have to watch for some holes in the wind shear pattern for later on in the season. That could be a potential sign. All right, CFS2 here. High pressure. It's going to be building out over the northern Atlantic. This is from the 17th of May to the 24th of May, CFS V2. This is an average of 48 forecasts, 12 runs multiplied by 4 members. All right, so again, CFS, high pressure right there in the northern Atlantic. Some tropical storms potentially could develop. All right, could they track into the Gulf of Mexico through the Caribbean? Could they go up the East Coast? We will have to see. All right, so some big question marks there to contend with for sure. Which way could these guys go? All right, next. All right, again, high pressure. This is now the 24th of May through the 31st of May. Again, CFS V2 model. High pressure builds up towards the northeast more. So could they trek into the southeast coast? Could they trek into Mexico, depending on how strong that high pressure is? Again, some things to consider with the 500 millibar. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, again, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching.